Has this year in business been a little bit more of a challenge than previous years? Maybe you thought the year was going to be better, but it's turned out to just be slow all the way around. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you're experiencing that, you are absolutely not alone, and this video is created specifically for you. And full disclosure, I am talking to you today as a small business owner, but I am also talking to myself because at Clara CFO, we have had a less than expected year. So we are, behind our projections for what we thought was going to happen. We do all of our planning in Q4 for the year. And frankly, we haven't met expectations. And so it's been a little bit of a disappointment. And I think in these kind of times, I'm a fractional CFO. I talk to clients all the time, and some of them are also experiencing the same things. And as a fractional CFO, we have to encourage our clients along the way and basically advise them on what to do in these situations. And, so I thought you guys might also need a little bit of a pep talk. So I wanted to just come to you today as a CFO, and let's just do a little bit of an advisory session. I'm going to tell you what I'm telling myself and what I'm telling other clients, because I think it's sometimes good to just get a little bit of comfort around where you are rather than beat yourself up about it, okay? That's what this video is going to be about today. I'm going to be giving just some general advice on what to do when times are just not as good as you were hoping they'd be. All right, so first I want to remind you that we are just looking at a very small moment in time. And when we look at this moment in time, maybe the first 6 months of 2025, it is a very small blip on the larger scale of the life of your business. So first, I want you to just remember that we are just looking at this small time. When you zoom out to, maybe when you first started your business, if you've been in business for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, this is going to look like just a little blip when you look back. And, also again, when you zoom out, this is just a very small portion. So what you're seeing today is not indicative of your entire business. If it's helpful to you to go back and think, where did I come from? Like, where was I when I first started versus where I am now? That can be a very helpful thing for you, just to sort of reset, that feeling of maybe like I'm feeling a little bit down about where we are right now. And the second thing I want to point out is that it can be a false assumption to think that our businesses will always do better than they did last year. If you think that way, it's actually going to put you into like a very frustrated cycle, because truthfully, if you look at all the businesses that have ever been created in the world and you look at their historical results over the life of their businesses, it's not a linear, up and to the right. It's not like we're always growing in revenue and profit and, size. But I think what sometimes people forget is they think, oh, well, I did something last year, I'm obviously going to do better this year. But the truth is that's typically not the case. We might do a little bit better one year, a little bit worse the next year, a lot better the next year, a lot worse the next year. So it can be up and down. Business growth is not linear. And I've heard it said, and I kind of think like from just looking at other businesses, this to be true, is that if you look at the 10 years, for every 10 years of a business, oftentimes they're going to have 2 really great years and 2 really not so great years. And then the 6 years in between, all of that could just be very average. So what the expectation should be is actually more average. Average is going to be more of the regular, and then it is not outside of realistic expectations to have a bad year either. So, I've owned my business for 8 years. I started in 2017, and I haven't really had a bad year. Now this year, it's not bad, but it's certainly not meeting the expectations of growth that we had put on the business. So it's been a little bit of a shock to me, and I've had to sort of comfort myself a little bit and like, what am I doing wrong? I'm thinking, I'm doing all these things that are wrong, but the truth is that like I'm actually not doing anything wrong. It's just that the business is not experiencing the growth it has from prior years, and it's not experiencing the growth that I was hoping it would experience. So yeah, I'm probably doing some things maybe not exactly perfectly. I'm sure I could be doing better in marketing and sales and things like that. But there's also going to be times where the economy maybe is not in your favor, or there's other, outside factors that might be affecting your business. And it's okay that not every single year you are growing exponentially over the past year. Okay. So I don't know if you needed to hear that, but I needed to hear that for myself, to say like, it's okay that not every year is an exponential growth year. Okay. So I want to give you some recommendations on what to do, because I can give you all the pep talks in the world, and whether or not that felt like a pep talk or not, I don't know. But I want to give you some recommendations, some very practical things that you can do so you feel like you're still moving forward, even if maybe the numbers aren't showing it or you're not necessarily meeting your growth expectations. But first thing I want to recommend is that you keep being consistent. Do not check out. This is not the time to just say like, well, it's not going my way. I'm going to go, just like stop working because nobody's coming to me. I'm not able to reach my goals. So I'm just going to completely fall off the wagon. I'm going to go on a 6-month sabbatical, and I'm just going to put down everything. If you want to do that, that's fine. But that is not what I would recommend if you're waiting for that upswing in business again. So what I would recommend instead is be consistent with the things you know you need to do to be successful in your business. What have you done in the past that has generated success? Keep doing those things. Even if you don't feel like the success is coming right now, I want you to keep doing those tasks. So some of the things that would be successful for my business, I'll give you this as an example. The first is to keep doing good work. So for the existing clients that we have, we want to keep serving them really well. Client retention, when maybe new client acquisition is pretty low, client retention is going to be what saves your business, and it's going to be what saves our business. So if we keep serving our clients really, really well, we're treating them amazing, we're taking good care of them, they feel very supported, we're helping them with all of their big business decisions, it is going to help increase that trust. They're going to feel supported, and we're going to be able to retain those clients. So keeping client service really, really high is something we're very much focused on. Another thing that we think is really important is to make sure that we're taking care of our employees. If our employees are well taken care of, we're going to have those good quality service providers so that when business does pick back up, they're going to feel rested. They're going to feel like they're ready to go. They're going to be excited about new projects, and they're going to be all trained up. If maybe they weren't trained before, they're going to have all this extra time to do training, which is great and makes them better service providers all around. Another thing that I'm doing is I'm keeping up with business development practices. So I am out there, talking to strategic partners. I'm talking to potential leads for CFO services. I am going to networking events. I am still doing all the things like I would be doing, even if it was a boom time. So if anything, I'm trying to ramp up some of those activities even more, but I'm still going out there and doing it. I'm not just putting my head in the sand and saying, oh, nobody's buying, I'm just gonna, not do that anymore. That's not the case. We're going to keep showing up and keep, doing these consistent business activities because it keeps that muscle working. And then also eventually things are going to come back. Now, you might be doing the wrong activities, and that's something that you can, assess, but I know the activities that I'm doing are the right things. I just need to keep consistent with them. Another thing that I'm continually doing is posting YouTube videos. Why would I not post YouTube videos? I really enjoy posting YouTube videos. I like getting these messages like this out there. And this is another way for our business to get out there and into the world. So I'm not stopping YouTube videos anytime soon. This is a great time to also work on any kind of process improvement that you have. So maybe if it's a little bit slower, you have a little bit more capacity, this is a great time to optimize some of your internal operations because you're not being bombarded with new business. So that's something that we're doing internally as well. And then lastly, like my suggestion on this point about staying consistent is just to keep that ball rolling. So do not stop your momentum just because you're not seeing the outward results of the financial success maybe that you thought was going to happen during the year. So just keep the ball rolling, okay? Keep consistent. The second recommendation I have to you is to adjust your forecast. If you had a very aggressive goal for the year and you are tracking against a forecast and it is, continually looking further and further away from reality and what is actually achievable, my recommendation to you and would be to any of our clients is to actually adjust down that forecast. Don't keep an unrealistic expectation and make decisions based on an unrealistic expectation if that is not achievable. Okay. Now, I'm not going to put anything out of anybody's realm of achievability because I believe in you and I know you can do anything that you put your mind to. But I also want you to be gracious with yourself. And if you are looking at it and you're like, hey, this is not something like maybe it's achievable, but what it would take to get there is not something you're willing to put in, then you need to adjust your forecast. So if you thought like this was going to be the year that you were going to make $1 million in your business, but you are actually looking at it like you're on track for 700,000 instead, maybe you need to adjust down your forecast to something more reasonable. If it's looking like 700, if you think you could really stretch and make it to 8, if you were able to put in, a certain amount of activities, then I would recommend adjusting down the forecast. And that's also for your kind of mental health as well. Like if you're the type of person that if you see too much of a big gap between where you should be and where you are, that can get some people into a pretty depressed state. So if that is where you are, that might be something you need to do. But if you see $1 million target and you're like, I'm going to do everything I can to get to that $1 million and that drives you, then, leave the forecast if that is helpful to you. But you need to know yourself enough to know, is that something that I need to adjust and have grace with myself and grace on the results of this year? Or is this something that will drive me? Okay. But the forecast is a forecast. It can be changed at any point in time. At Clara CFO, we adjust the forecast every single month based on what's actually happening in the business. So if we are seeing that sales activities are not going to be reaching the sales targets that we have, we either need to adjust the sales activities or we adjust the forecast. That is up to you. And lastly, I just want to say the recommendation I have to people is to get some rest, take care of yourself. Make sure that you are taking a little break. If this is very stressful to you to have this type of pressure on yourself as a business owner, maybe you're really worried about having to lay employees off or have to work a lot harder because you're really trying to reach some certain goals. Make sure you take time for rest because you can get burnt out very quickly with this constant pressure of not being able to reach your targets. And if you are not well rested, it will affect your business in a negative way. So it's kind of that concept of put your oxygen mask on first so you can take care of everybody else around you. You as a business owner need to, take care of yourself, have some self-care. If you need to go away for a weekend, if you need to go away for a week, whatever it is, even if it's just a staycation, you don't want to spend money and you just need to take some time off of work, do what you need to do in order to get some rest because this can be very stressful and it can really take a toll on you as a business owner. Have grace with yourself and get some rest. And yes, that is absolutely a recommendation that we make to our clients sometimes because we can see when they are on the verge of burnout, and burnout is good for nobody. So if you are getting to that direction, you need to start figuring out how to slow down, how to calm down a little bit, and how to recharge and rest. So I guess my parting thoughts to you are that it's okay if this year is not looking great, if it's been a bad year so far and you're not really optimistic about the second half of the year, it's going to be okay. All right? Focus on the things that you can control, let go of the things that you can't. And just remember that business always has cycles. There's going to be boom times and there's going to be bust times. And, what we need to do is figure out, how to stay in business and how to, continue doing the things that we know are good for us, good for our business and good for ourselves. And we will be better off for it. All right, you guys, that's just a little bit of deep thoughts from Hannah. And like I said, kind of preaching to myself along with this because sometimes I have to coach myself as well and kind of step back and say everything is going to be okay. All right. So you guys take care. I'm happy to be here and happy to be able to share these kind of messages with you. If this was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to share anything in the comment section below, if you've been in business for a long time and you've seen some of these boom and bust cycles, encourage the other small business owners below in your comments because, some people are brand new to business. And so this can be really shocking. And so any encouragement from our longtime business owners would be fantastic. All right. Thank you guys so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.